Alright, this video is a build up after my pulling research video for the people that want to know more about how I did the so-called research. So I'm assuming that you have seen the pulling research video with the results, and if you haven't, this video is probably gonna make no sense for you to watch. So, however, I'm gonna point out the weaknesses of this so-called study that I just did myself in one day, which is a weakness in itself. Because the results might not be reliable, they might not be applicable, they might not be relevant, who knows. And I am myself personally of a huge belief that nobody really knows how to play beach volleyball, which is why it's good to check these things. I mean, the result I got was basically saying that the most common techniques are not the quickest. Whatever. I'll stop rambling about that and just go to the weak points of my research, and then you can decide for yourself after that. So first weak point of my research is that the winner technique, the step close with the lazy man ending, I had been practicing that exact technique for a few months before I did the research, which basically means that most probably in my brain the processes for sending those signals are more efficient, which means that my body can probably do that movement a little bit more efficient than the other ones, because I'm just so much more used to it. So there might be a quickness factor in that. It could be that if I had practiced some other technique for the few months before that, well, then those signals would be more efficient and that technique would get a better results and the other would get worse results, if that makes sense. I don't know how one could actually make a study without this bias, because everyone is going to have practiced something, except if you take non-volleyball players, but I don't know if that makes sense either. Maybe if you had a huge number of players that you did this study on, and people would have different techniques that they have practiced before and different body builds and whatnot, you could sort of get more reliable results, but I don't have the means to do that sort of study, unfortunately. I don't know if anyone else has either. Okay, so second weak point is my body type and there only being one person in the study, so which I kind of just talked about. I have my specific leg lengths and body sizes and whatnot, so maybe some other technique works better for some other body type, and there's only one person in the study. Third point is lack of repetitions in the study. I don't remember exactly right now, but I think it was around 5-6 repetitions on each of the techniques that I used. So what was it, 5 different techniques, 6, maybe 30 repetitions in total for the whole study. So it's not a huge number of data. So, however, the numbers I got were quite stable, so that's why I decided to not really do so much more, because I was just like, okay, it's just the same every time, so I think I can rely on this. It would be different if it was like all over the place with the numbers. Only time it was all over the place with the numbers was when I did mistakes in the technique, and I simply just deleted those repetitions and didn't count them in the research at all. Okay, next one is quite interesting. Timer bias, because I have to be honest, and I did have like feelings. I thought that the technique that were the quickest, I thought that it would be the quickest before I even started the study. And the timer, what I did, how I actually timed these things, was that I afterwards took the repetitions onto my computer, added a digital timer into the video editing program, and tried to decide where the movement starts. Or I actually tried to decide not maybe where the movement starts, but where the decision would have been made to commit for a pull. And that's kind of hard to do, especially when it's not real balls, it's not it's not a game situation, and so on and so on. And because it was very much like it was kind of hard to decide on exactly which point that decision would have been made. Was it one frame that way? Was it one frame that way? And so on. And those 1 or 2 frames actually mattered in the timer and the results, because they are quite small margins after all. They're just milliseconds. So there might even be a bias within me that I tried to be as neutral as I could, but there could be a bias that made me make the ones I thought should be quicker, and the ones I thought should be slower. I hope not, but there's always a chance that I'm not even aware of that. I tried to actively not make it happen like that, but who knows. If someone wants to redo my work, if someone would be that interested, I can send you the files. I can send you the footage without the timer if you want. If you just want to apply the timer yourself and see what numbers you get. That's an option for anyone. Just tell me in the comments or whatever. I'll send you that video. 5th weak point is sand depth. The place where I filmed these repetitions, the sand is relatively deep. Not the deepest sand in the world, absolutely not. But people actually struggle attacking properly in that place. So I say if I play on harder sand, not so hard that I get injured, but like more compact sand, I think I jump about 4 inches higher, 10 centimeters higher. So there is some looseness in that sand in the place where I did this study. And the thing with loose sand, I believe, is that every single step you take in the sand, you're gonna lose some of your power. So let's say that in deep sand, every step you take is 10% less efficient compared to hard sand. Well, that would mean that techniques with many steps would have a disadvantage in deep sand compared to techniques with lesser steps. I hope that makes sense. And this is, I think, only matters really for the backpedaling technique, the running back technique, which has more steps than the other techniques. So actually the back pedal, from my numbers, it was as quick as the normal, most common pulling technique. But what if in hard sand it would actually be quicker than the most common technique? Maybe, I don't know. I hope that makes sense, what I just explained. 6th point here or whatever, my stopping position, like how I actually end. Some of the videos I'm a little bit unbalanced, and yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's perfect. It might be bad actually. So that's just me maybe not being skilled enough even at doing this study properly. So yeah, I just did sort of what I did when I played, but I'm not a professional player. So there could be some improvements made there with like the balance and how I stop, and maybe that would make things quicker or slower or whatever. Those were the weak points that I have come up with on my own. There's probably more of them. I can come up with some weak points that some people are probably gonna point out that I don't agree with, but whatever. Just comment below in the comments if you find like there's this study to be reliable, has even more weak points, and people can read those and whatnot. I'm not at all saying that this study is legit. It's just a suggestion. It's just an experiment I wanted to do for myself to see if I was actually right claiming that I believe that for me that pulling technique is quicker. Hope that makes sense, and hope you appreciate me making this video maybe helps someone. And I'm always interested in discussions. I think it's a sort of interesting topic, so whoever you happen to be, just contact me, and I'm happy to talk. Yeah, cool. Thank you, and hope I meet you someday or see you later or whatever. Have fun.